All right, so what's up, everybody? We got a couple of things that we got to talk about before we start the video. We just want to know what to look for in our notebooks. So we'll start with our vocab. We got a couple of words here that you want to be looking for actively. The first one is domesticate. The next one will be systematic agriculture. You've got the word shrine, monarchy, and specialization. Okay, so those are your vocab terms. Remember, you open them up. When you see it, you can pause the video and you can write the definition under there, and then you can test yourself. All right? We also want to answer the question, why were Paleolithic people nomadic? So it's kind of a reflection of what we were talking about previously. So take a look for that. Now we're going to talk about the Neolithic Age. Questions are as follows. What change marks the beginning of the Neolithic Age? When was the Neolithic Age? How did life change in the Neolithic Age? What new technologies did they have? Remember, as you go through, you want to write your findings right in there, no problem. And then you can close that back up. But these are going to be the things that you really want to look for. And then as we move on, we'll start talking about the Bronze Age, but not yet. All right. We'll see you in the Neolithic Age. All right. We're going to take a look at the agricultural revolution. Remember, throughout, feel free to pause, do what you need to do to get those notes completed. And again, this is at your own speed, so get what you need from this. So taking a look at the time periods again, we know that the Stone Age was 2.5 million years ago until about 10,000 BC. And this is when they were using stone tools, and then we see them transition into the Mesolithic, but what we really want to focus in on is the Neolithic Age, where people switched to agriculture or farming and domesticated animals, which means that they didn't have to really hunt anymore. So let's take a look at the Neolithic Age. So the Neolithic Age, you see a map here of the different areas around the world. You see the green areas are the areas where these origins of agriculture as part of the Neolithic Revolution happens, and then we see how people spread from those different areas. So it says after the last ice age, the earth warmed. Nomadic peoples moved to areas with milder climates and fertile land, and that means land that's easy to grow things. They began staying in one place to grow food, and we would call this systematic agriculture, which slowly replaced hunting as their main food source. So they could stay there, grow their own food, and they wouldn't have to always be looking for food. People also began domesticating, or we could say taming, animals. They kept animals for many reasons: meat, milk, wool, similar to what we do today. These changes marked the beginning of the Neolithic Age, which took place from about 8,000 to 4,000 BCE, which means before Common Era. So now we'll take a look here at what we've got. Hopefully you recognize the different continents here on the map. We'll start from the left. It says about 7,000 to 5,000 BCE, people in Mexico and Central America grew corn, squash, potatoes. They domesticated things like chickens and then dogs. Around 6,000 BCE, down at the bottom, wheat and barley were grown in the Nile River Valley. Agriculture slowly spread along the river to other parts of Africa. People in Central Africa grew tubers like yams. Wheat and barley spread to East India by 5,000 BC, so it spreads from these agricultural centers. About 6,000 BCE, people in northern China began to grow millet and keep domesticated dogs and pigs. And then around 5,000 BCE, farmers in Southeast Asia grew rice, which later spread to southern China. So what we have to know about the agricultural revolution is that this is the systematic agriculture that starts the agricultural revolution. People began settling in one place so that they could farm. As people's access to food supplies improved, populations grew. So again, people are attracted to that. They don't have to move around. So life in the Neolithic period. People built permanent homes in villages near water. Villages were located close to their fields. Living in one place gave people greater security. The steady food supply led to healthier growing populations. With agriculture, people could grow extra food. People had time to do other jobs, as they did not have to worry about food. They began to specialize in their work. Specialization, a term you need to know, is the act of training for a particular job. People became artisans. They made weapons, jewelry, pottery, baskets, woven cloth, and more. People began to trade these goods and get things they did not have. And we see things like religion developing. Neolithic communities have been found with shrines. A shrine is a holy place where people worship. Religious rituals, often related to climate and crops. They develop calendars to track when to plant or harvest crops. Then our gender roles, what were men and women doing? They changed during the Neolithic period. Men worked in the fields and herded animals. They became responsible for growing food and protecting the villages. Women took care of children and managed the food supplies. They wove cloth and used bone needles to make clothing. Technology improved during this period. People used polished stone tools, which were stronger than flaked ones. Improved tools such as hoes and sickles made farming easier. Toward the end of the time period, people began making tools with copper.